very welcome to the Irish Independent Premier Division review. The rain has just arrived here at Richmond Park. It was sort of here across the evening, steady enough. Now we have a downpour. Probably the downpour that means we have a reduced review tonight because the games in Galway and Waterford haven't gone ahead. So we have a sort of a curtailed programme, Aidan Fitzmaurice, but we have a degree of familiarity at the top of the table because Shamrock Rovers are back on top. And that probably is the top line from the evening. You were at Dalymount Park for Bohemians losing to Sligo Rovers. And I was just thinking there, the opening weekend of the season, probably there was question marks around Bows and St. Pat's. I think both of them have had spells on top of the table that have sort of lifted the mood around the respective clubs. But I think, not a great vibes around the place tonight. I'll talk about my game here in a minute, but for you, I think I heard suggestions, a couple of boos at the end. David Park.
Boos at half-time because it wasn't. I think this was set up for Bows. They were at home, second home game of the week. The bottom two, more or less the full squad apart from Dawson Devoy. Sligo travelled here. The travel issue, John Wilson said before the game, they had an issue getting through Carrick and Shannon. They were basically okay, but they had to leave a little bit earlier to make sure they got here. They weren't barricades. Missing James McManus, down a lot of players. And when Bows went 1-0 up after 7 minutes, a brilliant pass from Sadhu Diallo from the back, good finish from Zane Myers. You really feared for Sligo, just as a kind of night where they could have crumbled. But really after that, Sligo thought were immense. John Russell, the job he did in kind of making a few tactical switches, and Bows just were really very, very mute. So there some boos at half-time, but definitely boos at full-time because this week was there for Bows. At home to Waterford, where they had to come from behind to get a draw. And losing 2-1 here tonight, Sligo were full value for it. I mean, the last 20 minutes, Bows were camped in the Sligo box for the last 15-20 minutes. Just didn't really did all the old tactics they put on. Douglas James Taylor threw on Patrick Hickey. Just didn't really ask enough questions. Sligo were quite comfortable. Garrett McElroy was immense. Ollie Denham, superb. Sligo very, very happy going home tonight. But huge questions for Bohemians, who now have not just one but two away derbies, away to Shamrock Rovers and away to St. Pat's.
Yeah, I suppose what happened at 1-0, I mean, that was obviously the key period of the game that the Bows, get ahead. They score a goal from play, which has been maybe a problem we've spoken about. You would think that's the position that they would press on from.
That's been their problem, and lots of good approach play. I mean, Sam Targent made a couple of saves, but he wasn't particularly busy at the other end as well. I mean, calamitous. The first goal from the first goal, it's soft. Fitzgerald's ball into the box. The second one was a set piece, at the tramway end, not defended. Sean McHale left back, free in the box to get his head to it. Terrible defending. And Bows at the start of the season with all those clean sheets. The rain really is coming down here now to even dampen the mood some more. But I mean, just really Bows lacking that punch. And if Plan B is to put up Pat Hickey up front to try and get something, it didn't work tonight because it didn't get the goal. A lot of fans wondering about Hugh Martin, very exciting player who scored for the Irish underage team on an international duty a couple of weeks ago. Should he have got more game time? So Bows have lots of build-up play, lots of approach play, but just not putting the ball in the box. And it will be concerned for the two games to come.
Yeah, I suppose Waterford and Drogheda, their game didn't go ahead of the RSC tonight, but a bit of a wasted preparation for them, but they won't be in great form either when they see the Sligo Rovers have won. That's a big moment for them. Now, the game here, it's a few sirens in the background now. I don't know, quite know what's going on outside here, but I have to say it was sort of just a little bit flat at Richmond Park. The Wolf Tones were here. They were the special guests. They were brought out at half-time. Just not enough sort of resistance on the pitch in terms of how Pat started this game. If you're watching this game in the early minutes, pretty much it was a sold-out game. You're thinking, okay, will there be the response from Pats? Now, they are missing a few players, Palmer, Keena, as feared. The Rovers just grabbed control of this game early. Like they won this game early. The goal that people might have seen, Jack Byrne just gets loads of time to meander towards the edge of the area, gets a shot away to Sean Hoare, deflects past Joseph Anang, and that was it. Now I know Ryan Edmondson, people would see the highlights, he had a big chance in each half, one save from McGinty, one block from Corey O'Sullivan. To me it was just general play. Jack Byrne, Burke Oshin-Vuna in the first half. Sort of Pat's press wasn't really organised. They sort of tightened, they got a bit better as the game went on, but they were chasing. Looked a bit stretched. They got Max Mato up front as the second striker, which they needed to do. But then Forrester in for his first start, Lennon back, didn't necessarily have great options on the bench to turn the game around, and
But it's those concerns about Pat again. I think we spoke to start the season, first 2 games, no goals, and now 2 games in a week that you would have seen where they want to compete if they are serious this year about improving on last year against Dundalk, newly promoted team, and at home to Shamrock Rovers. So those 2 games in a row without a goal would have to be a concern with those options, with Matt involved. You're right, okay, Keena, we don't know how long he's going to be missing for, but there will be concerns there. The one word I heard from somebody here earlier on was ominous in terms of Shamrock Rovers. That is, it's just it now that Shamrock Rovers have had that start. They generally don't come out of the blocks firing on all cylinders each season. We've seen that down over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
But just that everyone else is dropping points. Derry have had the terrible start. Bowes have not only dropped points in the last 2 games, but also beaten runs. St. Pat's not scoring. Bowes struggling to score. Is the next month just going to be a case of Shamrock Rovers just moving up another gear and leaving everyone else behind them?
Yeah, April and May is when these leagues are often won. And significant things, they only had 1 change tonight. Previously, they've been making 4 or 5 changes game to game. Just 1 change, and look, it was enough to get the job done. Now, it's one team pre-season we would have expected to be challenging was Derry City, and it's a weird one because you're in a situation now where you're thinking they've drawn away to Dundalk. Is that a good result for them? I mean, it's not really because for everything we spoke about in the preview, this is a newly promoted team, and in fact, I was just trying to keep an eye on the last 5-10 minutes of this game. It was Dundalk who were piling on and trying to get the win. I think the headline, James McClean come on in the second half, 2 quick yellow cards. I didn't see the first one, but the second one was a high boot. I know you'd had a McDonnell sent off there for sort of a blatant second yellow. I think the McClean one, I think by the letter of the law, it means a high boot. I don't know, was there other fouls in between? 2 yellows for a sub. Was there any give or leeway given? I don't know, but overall, it just it adds to the picture of gloom around Derry. I feel that result.
What struck me from that game, again, not seeing it, but just looking at this, I mean, the stats were flashed up there at the end. Dundalk had 10 shots on target. I think Derry had only a couple, and Beach in particular was, I know, probably a bit critical of him up till now because of the goals conceded, but he seemed to have kept Derry in the game tonight. That's the concern for Derry, that they did scrape a point, but if Derry have serious ambitions this season, that's the game they should be targeting as a win. And it's a funny run coming up for Derry now as well. They have, as we said, they haven't maximised their time at the Brandywell. They're going to be going to Celtic Park. Huge questions for them. Shamrock Rovers going up to Derry in a couple of weeks. That all-important game in GA HQ in Derry instead of the Brandywell. How is that another significant step on the road for Shamrock Rovers to what we already looked like an inevitability, and more questions about Derry City?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. I don't know. I don't think that result in any way is going to sort of quell the discussion. I think that's continuing around Derry and the direction of the team. They play Shelbourne away next week. Shelbourne obviously have no game tonight because their game in goal was called off. I know James McClean was talking about pitches earlier in the week. Look, these downpours are torrential. But I suppose it does drive home the facility point that you do have 2 pitches that were lost. That lost games in April. I know some supporters had travelled. I know Drogheda had a ban. I don't know will that supporters ban carry over to another fixture.
Late calls as well, which probably doesn't help.
Late calls, Cork City as well in the first division. Yeah, Cork City in the first division in Treaty. I know some frustration there too.
Yeah, not great for supporters when the call is made that late. Look, I wasn't in Galway. I don't know how quickly the rain came. It did seem to be a downpour, same with Waterford, but still, if you've travelled, particularly the effort that people would have made today, supporters and teams, there was a lot of effort to get out across the country tonight. So if you're a Shelbourne fan who'd made it to Galway, you're not going to be particularly happy. Similar for Drogheda heading to Waterford.
Yeah, look, if the pitches aren't playable, they're not playable. It can't be controlled. And look, the climate is volatile, as we all know. But equally, you'd like to think that the surfaces would be able to withstand that. And it shows. Look, it's just part of the road that the league has to travel. And yeah, some people are travelling back down the road tonight, probably after a difficult journey, after seeing no game. But at least they haven't lost, like some of the other teams, some of the fans going home from some games this evening. So look, Aidan, thanks very much. People might see a QR code popping up on the screen. That'll bring you to the Irish Independent Sport website. You can look at some of the reports from this evening and some of the reaction from the managers that will be filed overnight and into tomorrow. So Aidan, thanks for joining me, and we'll be back very soon.